Hello, it's a pleasure to be with you today for this webinar. I hope this event is very useful for you, and I would like to inform you that we had more than 1,000 registrations. My name is Ariadne Garotti, and I will be the host for this event. To start, I would like to present the event's agenda and the speakers. I am responsible for EFESO South America, and I will make a brief introduction about the PCS, Performance Control System, and how our consultants could help you in the implementation. Later, we will watch a video, and we will also have the presentation of two cases with Mr. Olivier Boudinot, Plant Director of L'Oréal, and Mr. Ronaldo Ribeiro Gomes, Plant Director of SGD Pharma. I take this opportunity to thank you immensely for their availability to be here with us today. Our most sincere thanks. Then, to finalize, we will have a presentation by Renato Basso, Managing Director of Solvay, our company responsible for implementing the Operational Excellence Platform, who will demonstrate the PCS module that we call Obeya. This is the agenda for today, and these will be the speakers for this webinar. Olivier will introduce us the L'Oréal case in English, and also Ronaldo is responsible for the SGD company in French. He's Brazilian, so he will present us in Portuguese, but the slide will be in English, okay? The microphones are turned off, so if you have any questions, please use the chat. It can be in Portuguese, which we will translate after, okay? Because we have many Brazilians in this webinar. And during the webinar, we will be answering or collecting the questions so that they can be answered at the end of the webinar by our presenters, okay? If you don't have time, we will answer by email in the future. About EFESO, okay? EFESO Consulting is a leading global management consultant with over 40 years experience in the global marketplace. We are growing fast and are recognized by our client as a partner able to deliver globally proven solutions at all levels of an organization. We have 33 offices and work with many different clients, many different segments, like you can see from our clients here. Talking a little about PCS implementation, we implement the PCS control system inside our clients. Then we pursue increasing and continuous results, focus on the business objectives, an agile and efficient management of the routine involving all levels of population of the employees. And we pursue elimination of existing barriers to achievement of goal described above. Okay, then we are the consultant that help our client how to deliver, how to implement the PCS system. An overview, EFESO's PCS approach is the system that is able to consistently implement the full infinite loop, integrate the improvement project cycles and sustainable these projects. If you see, we have the right side where is the improvement, then we launch some different projects to reduce the losses, to increase productivity, to reduce breakdown, to reduce setup. And in the left side, we have routine management that we call PCS to guarantee, to ensure that this project continues in sustainability. To develop the PCS, we have 6 steps. I don't detail these steps now, okay, because our focus is to show you our digital PCS, but it's important to know that we have a route that we can follow to implement this system. The first step is making diagnostic to understand the current management system, what you have today. Then we analyze and we define, we create the mapping of the activities, tactical level. Then we can understand the routine that you have and how to reduce bureaucracy and to balance the activities from each position. The third step is develop the indicators from the KPIs to OPEs, then strategic, tactical, and operational. Then we have the visual management and accountability to define who is responsible for each indicator. Management structure, then when define the cycles, the routine, how many meetings we need to have. And to finalize, our consultant is training and coaching the client to guarantee that this system is totally implemented. But today we don't talk about consultants how to implement, but we will talk about how to put this system in a digital way. Before, our meetings were held using paper. And many clients claims a lot because it's very bureaucratic and sometimes with information that was not updated. In order to improve the routine, EFESO has developed a module that we call Obeya inside our platform in order to automate the information and make the meeting more efficient. In this module, the client will be able to customize the needed information, and we will also have access to several tools such as problem analysis, action plan, Kaizen, etc. And today, this is the webinar. This is the information that you can see in this event. How can our clients pass from this situation in this, and we will show our platform. Okay.
Hello, everybody. My name is Olivier Boudinot, and I'm the director of L'Oréal Lassigny Factory, the luxury makeup factory of the group L'Oréal. So we make lipsticks, glosses, mascaras, powders for the luxury division, and we work for fantastic brands such as YSL, Valentino, Lancôme, Giorgio Armani, and the new one, Prada. So we produce bulks on 30 different cosmetic manufacturing tanks. We produce finished goods on 25 filling and packing automated lines. And our main priorities are obviously quality of our products and performance, but also we really target to be the best in class in agility due to our very volatile market and catalog. So for that, we use digital tools to be more agile and to gain some speed in our processes. We really want to be a complete and digitalized and connected plant. For this, we coordinate a lot of projects on different streams, such as virtual reality, 3D printing, cobots, and digitalization of all the papers of the factory. And digital PCS is really a key project in our strategy. Solvay's, the solution, the PCS solution, is really the backbone of our performance strategy in the plant. We started to deploy it in the shop floor to manage KPIs and daily meetings, but now we use it really for everything. Of course, the daily improvement meetings every day on the lines. We manage PDCAs, actions in the system. We manage root cause analysis, but also we manage all the routines of the factory in this system. So every services, such as, for example, finance or human resources, use the system and manage their routines in Solvay. We can also use it for change management in the system and performance workshop, such as, for example, 5S or this kind of workshops. So as you can see, we have a huge number of action in the system, and we use it for 2 years now. More than 13,000 meetings in the system managed, and more than 1,000 root cause analysis in Solvay. So it's quite huge and used by everyone. For us, the benefits are clear. The first one is customization. You really can design yourself the screen you need. So you can decide what you want in terms of KPIs. The second is simplification and integration. So you have all the action plans and action of the factory in the same tools. Before you had many different Excel sheets. Now everything is in the tool. Root cause analysis can be managed by technician and operator, so it's better. And you manage really your ecosystem. You can connect the app with other application as Excel, Power BI, or your, for example, your maintenance management system can be connected to surveys. Another point for us, very important, it's you have a scalable tool, so you have some evolution of the system every month, and you can ask some evolutions. And really, for me, it's a boost of the digital culture of the shop floor and of the plant. So it's really an important system for us. Some key points in terms of change management. You really have you need some touch screens, and they must be in the shop floor, so very close to operators. And you really need to support your teams because it's not they are not all natural digital. So you need to support them to implement the tool in the plant. I advise you to start by the shop floor and then to deploy to all the plant, all the services. And my advice is to think out of the box and create really your Solvay's community and your Solvay's environment and projects. So for us, Lacini is the first plant to test and learn for L'Oréal Group, but now we are deploying all the 30 factories of the group, and everyone is using the tool. So I can show you some pictures. You can see the mascara modules of the plant with a screen and an example of one operator using the system in the plant. And this is our dashboard used every day on the line. So as you can see, we manage all the KPIs, safety, quality, agility, productivity, uptime ratio. We also manage losses, the respect of the standards of the line, for example, nominal values, the different audits. You can you record the events of the line and obviously manage the different actions in the system. This is another example of a monthly meeting. So we manage all our meetings directly in Solvay. So the participants, the agenda, the different subjects, and the action are directly recorded in the system. So we really use this solution for every performance meeting in the factory. Voilà. You are in mute.
Sorry. Some questions for Olivier in the chat, or can we continue?
No, Ariadne, it's okay. We can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I will share my screen again. And now, Mr. Ronaldo Ribeiro Gomes will introduce us how routine management is done at SGD Pharma. Okay, I will share my screen, just 1 second. Ronaldo, can you see my screen?
Sim.
Ok, com você agora.
Ok. Oi, pessoal. Eu sou Ronaldo Ribeiro Gomes, brasileiro do Rio de Janeiro. Diretor na SGD, responsável por uma planta no norte da França. E membro do comitê de performance do grupo. SGD é líder mundial na embalagem primária para a saúde. Aí estão algumas informações básicas. Nossa história começou em 1896, então já é pouco de tempo, muito tempo. Nós temos 5 fábricas espalhadas no mundo, nossa sede é em Paris, nós temos mais de 3.000 profissionais, fazemos mais de 2 bilhões de embalagens de vidro por ano, com vendas em torno de 340 milhões de euros. 9 escritórios em todas as regiões do mundo e mais de 90 agentes e distribuidores. Aí estão alguns dos produtos que nós fazemos para diferentes destinações. Nós temos para as vacinas, para xaropes, para tratamento de diferentes doenças e também contraste para exames de imagem. Nossa pegada industrial, ela está na Europa e na Ásia. Nós temos 3 fábricas na Europa, 2 na França, uma na Alemanha, e na Ásia nós temos fábrica na China e fábrica na Índia. A fábrica de Saint-Quentin-la-Motte, que é a fábrica no norte da França, é a nossa fábrica mais moderna e uma das mais modernas do mundo. E foi justamente essa fábrica que nós escolhemos para ser o piloto da implantação do PCS na companhia. A digitalização, o processo, né? A decisão foi de fazer uma evolução objetivando estruturar os dados, compartilhar a informação, gerenciar a melhoria da performance e, com isso, elevar o nível da excelência operacional da nossa organização. Mas antes eu conto um pouco da história do início da implantação. A criação do nosso primeiro PCS levou em consideração as particularidades ligadas à nossa cultura, né? E contamos com a ajuda, né, do suporte técnico da EFESO. Esse passo inicial nos permitiu introduzir o conceito e, ao mesmo tempo, e principalmente, quebrar as resistências ao novo. Evidentemente que isso funcionou muito bem, estrategicamente, mas mostrou que tínhamos que continuar evoluindo para melhorar em alguns pontos, tais como, né, mistura de papéis, quadros, tablets, entrada de dados manual, dificuldade para capitalizar e possível perdas de informação. Então, decidimos que a solução Solvay seria ideal para o nosso próximo passo. Ela nos ajudou a consolidar, né, coleta das fontes de melhoria, conduzir, apresentar e impulsionar o desempenho durante as reuniões, melhorar resolvendo problemas e aproveitando oportunidades, e aprender, né, verificando a eficiência, registrando os dados. A digitalização é uma maneira fácil de reunir, de coletar melhorias de diferentes fontes. Então, as performances são melhor animadas e gerenciadas durante as reuniões. Os problemas levantados durante essas reuniões são resolvidos usando um método estruturado. E, por fim, podemos verificar a eficácia das ações realizadas e registrar as informações e dados que julgamos úteis para localizá-los facilmente, se necessário, depois. Então, o processo foi consolidado através de meios eletrônicos, visuais, ferramentas de melhoria contínua e ganho de conhecimento. Concretamente, aqui está o painel, um exemplo, de um dos nossos PCS, o de produção, que está no centro do nosso processo. Ele é composto por diversos subpainéis relativos à segurança, qualidade, manutenção e desempenho operacional das linhas. A parte direita, acima, contém os assuntos e o tempo previsto. E abaixo, a lista dos problemas levantados e ações decididas durante.
Hello, can you hear Ronaldo?
Pardon, excusez-moi. Nesse outro slide.
Next, here?
Yes.
Ok.
Aqui estão os gráficos de desempenho das linhas, né? Configuráveis conforme nossa vontade. E essa é uma vantagem do sistema, né? Ele deixa você criar em função da própria cultura e da própria característica da empresa. E abaixo os comentários dos líderes, das equipes, para explicar o desempenho. Na sequência, este é um resumo das ações decididas em reuniões anteriores e na reunião do dia, com seus respectivos status. Isso permite arquivar o que precisa ser, né, e resumir os pontos importantes. Os efeitos da nova digitalização PCS, se houvesse. Eficiência visual e melhor estrutura, confiabilidade para monitoramento das ações, sem perdê-las, transmissão direta de informações em tempo real, apresentação de KPIs e ações de forma mais fluida, armazenamento de dados facilmente localizáveis, economia de tempo, porque apenas uma entrada é transferida automaticamente, nenhum erro de compreensão. Os dados e ações são visíveis ao vivo. Compartilhamento de experiências. Todos acompanham e contribuem para a avaliação da relevância da decisão. Importante ferramenta educacional para a mudança cultural em direção à excelência operacional e ajuda para usar o know-how de cada participante. Do ponto de vista cultural, a excelência em direção à excelência operacional é, sem dúvida, um processo que potencializa a riqueza das diferenças. Eu quero dizer com isso que o exercício diário na utilização do PCS permite a cada um de contribuir com seus conhecimentos específicos na correção dos desvios, mas também permite aos não especialistas de fornecer um olhar diferente para as coisas que estamos habituados a fazer. Eu tenho mais de 40 anos na indústria e estou muito à vontade para dizer para vocês que eu considero esta ferramenta como potencialmente importante para a evolução de uma organização industrial. Muito obrigado.
Thank you very much, Ronaldo. We will answer other questions. We have a team that answers some questions in the chat, okay? But we have one question for Olivier Boudinot. Olivier, please, there is a question for you. It does not seem to me that the person asked, the project in L'Oréal was a cost-saving project. How did they make feasible the investment? How did you make feasible the investment to invest in this platform?
It was one of our questions when we started the project, and I can answer you. It's a bet. The investment is not a pure cost-saving solution, but you will gain in reactivity on your problems. You will gain on the integration of all the people, in reactivity, in agility, in the digital culture, and you will gain basically on a rigor in a root cause analysis and in a rigor in the follow-up of actions. So for example, we use this tool to manage ramp up new product ramp up in the factory. So we really follow more KPIs with this tool than in the past. We can follow the losses, we can follow many KPIs in the system. So I cannot say that you will gain 10 points of uptime ratio in 1 year, but you will gain in reactivity in your programs. And it's basically a good thing in this world where very quick.
Perfect. Thank you. Now I ask to Renato Basso to show you. I give you the screen. Renato, please, if you can introduce us the platform.
Sure. Thank you, Ariadne. Thank you. Well, just to put you guys in the context, Solvay's Operational Excellence 4.0 platform, what we are trying to achieve here is basically a digital platform that supports operational excellence as a whole. So meaning that what we have in our solution is basically a gallery or a store with apps, and every small box that you are seeing my screen are actually one of the apps. And what we are going to talk today, just for you to understand the context, is basically the Digital Obeya app, which is the new name that we are giving to Digital PCS. And why we are changing Digital PCS to Digital Obeya? Because the way that we are conceiving the platform right now, we can configure meetings, as you are going to see today. However, you can configure also visual management beyond meetings. I'm going to also give some examples. So this is just to give you the context. So this is one of the 30 applications, more or less, that we have to support operational excellence. All right, so let's access the system. So here, if I click here, Digital Obeya, I'm basically now inside the platform here. Here, every client actually can open as many rooms. We call every thing that we do in the tool is called a kind of virtual room. And to create a virtual room, or is just clicking here, and clicking here, you are going to be able to configure a name of that specific room. Now putting in the meeting context, it could be meeting line 1, meeting packaging department, meeting plant level. So anyway, you guys can define what you want to give as a title for this meeting. And here as an owners are actually the people that will have permission to configure the boards. Members are guys that are going to be able to access the board, are going to be able to update information every morning or with KPIs, with actions, but they are not going to be able to configure. And if you add this as a confidential, no one will be able to see that board. Or if you leave this like this, every person will be able to see the board, however, not to update the board, are just visitors, okay? So in these 3 user permissions level, people can do whatever they want to do. Just to save time, of course, I'm gonna open one board which is already created here. Okay, so when you click here, you are basically going to this visual board. Of course, that when you start the system, you are going to open a blank board. This is already configured, but just to see how easy is the configuration of a board. Okay, when you click here, imagine that again what I described to you. You are inside of a virtual room, and if you click here in this button, basically you are accessing all the boards that you can create in one specific room. So in this example, I'm in the board number 1 of this room, and you can configure as many boards as you want for each different room that you create. And how you configure this board? Clicking here in this edit mode, basically what you have here is what we call a gallery of widgets. And here the solution provides you different types of widgets. It can be numeric, it can be graphic, calendar, traffic lights, images. Anyway, there are more than 10 types of widgets that are available for you to configure. And when you click in the widgets, basically what you are doing, you are adding the widgets in your board like these. These are all widgets. I'm in the configuration mode, of course. So what you are having here, you can add as many widgets as you want, and just is a matter for you to configure as you want. And for each widget, when you click here in settings, basically for each widget, you can have different types of configuration. You can configure the title, subtitle, the color of the background, colors if the things are out of the target. Anyway, This is totally configurable by you, and you have all the flexibility that you need to do it. Okay, so again, very straightforward. Imagine that we already configured these boards, and let's start to see this in real use, right? So let's start to simulate a meeting. So what happens every day when you start a meeting, right? Basically, when you start a meeting, first thing that you are going to do, probably as a preparation of the meeting, you need actually to update the informations that you are going to have in that meeting, right? So here, how information can come to the system. Okay, let me give an example of this, OEE Shift A. Basically, there are three main ways that information can be updated every day in the meeting. So the first one, like I'm going to do here, manually, right? So as probably you guys are doing in Excel on a paper-based version. If you click here and you put the OEE and you put save, that's it. This graphic is going to be updated, okay? And then the owner of each KPI can do this before the meeting starts. Second way to do this is what we call the no-code integration. This example here that you see in the bottom is one example where we are integrating the system with Power BI. So how this no-code integration works? Actually, if you go to Power BI and you just copy this actually Power BI generates for you that code and you paste here, automatically we are connecting the system. Basically, we are embedding automatically Power BI here. And it's not only for Power BI. We could do this with SharePoint. We can do, if you have more modern MIS, OEE or ERP system, they already provide this, and this is just a copy and paste. So a regular user can do an integration. And the third example is really integration with what we call APIs. So we really can connect our system with, again, your ERP, MIS. So data, for example, like OEE, like maintenance data, can come automatically to the system. So in other words, you don't need to come before the meeting to update manually. Informations are coming automatically to the system, okay? All right, so imagine that people did the preparation of the meeting, and now the meeting starts. So this widget agenda, actually people usually use to put the topics of the agenda, and then when I click here, the system is gonna start to count the time to guide me what I have to do in this meeting. And then, of course, in a meeting like this, what you are trying to see is not to see the green ones. Every day you are trying to see your deviation, to discuss the deviation, right? And how usually this works. For each KPI that you review, if you want to zoom, you can. And once that you find a deviation, you can treat this in a different way. One example on treating a deviation is basically, imagine that you already know the root cause. You are not going to spend to do a root cause analysis. It's just what we call go and do. If it's just go and do, you click here, and then you can automatically open an action that will be connected and associated to this specific KPI here. And all the actions that you add here are going to be listed here, including with a status to see what's going on. Second example, imagine that you had a deviation, but you don't know what's the root cause. So you really need to open a root cause analysis. So it's just a matter of clicking here, and the system is going to automatically bring me a root cause analysis form with all the 5W1H, Ishikawa, and 5Ys available. And at the end of the analysis, of course, you can find the root causes and then assign actions as the same as I showed to you before. And last, sometimes it's very common that when you are in a meeting, you lose the information that were discussed during the meeting, right? Here we have a kind of what we call a feed. Imagine that you have in Facebook a timeline where you can record what you want to say. You can store pictures, files, and even you can answer to people, right? So if I click here, I can answer. And this, of course, you can do during the meeting, but actually you can do not only during the meeting. During the shift, you can be logging information, you can be answering to other people. It's really the idea of having a digital communication tool where people under this KPI is trying to discuss and is trying to solve the problem in a collaborative way. Okay, and this, of course, what I described to you can be done in every single KPI that you add in the system here, right? This, for example, is not a KPI, but it could be, for example, your safety briefing. Imagine that you want in your 5-minute safety briefing to have a video here. This, for example, is bringing information from YouTube, but actually you could be recording, I don't know, the plant manager saying something and adding here as a video, okay? Well, all the actions and all the RCAs that you guys add in every single widget automatically goes to this central RCA widget and to the central action plan widget. This means that I don't need to be entering each single widget to see things. I can see all the actions and RCAs here, right? When we talk about actions, actually we manage actions with a list where usually people are used to work in Excel. But actually, when you are working with digital these days, we work more on agile way. And people that works with agile usually are replacing tables by Kanbans. So here, if I click in this button, basically I just switched that table view to a Kanban view where people can manage actions, can drag and drop. And again, when you are discussing a specific action, you also have a feed here where under that actions, people can discuss, add files and so on until they find. And here we manage actions as in industrial environments, it's very important, what we call kappa, right? Even we have a field for that, where you can define if this is a corrective action or if this is a preventative action. We have also audit trail here. Anyway, we have several tools that are very manufacturing and industrial related when you manage actions. Other things to mention about meetings, right, is how the meetings are connected, right? Because here I can configure several different meetings in several different rooms. But one thing that is key in PCS is the connection between meetings. Imagine, for example, that I have in the morning the meeting level 1, which are the meetings for every single line. So every single line, they have their meetings. But the level 2, you have in the meeting department, right? The department meeting, sorry. And how you connect this, I don't know, 10 line meetings with this department meeting in several different ways. First of all is what we call here the mirroring. So imagine, for example, that you are in the department meeting, you have the OEE for all the lines, but you don't want to type again, right? If the guy already typed this or you have this information in the line meeting, it's done. How you can do this? Here, rather than typing the information, when you are configuring the widgets, you come here in source, and rather than having the source manually, you click here in mirror, and then you say this widget is mirrored in that widget of line 1. It means that every time that someone in the line 1 types the OEE, the today's OEE was 65, the level 2 meeting is already updated. This means that the meetings are really, really connected. So the KPIs are connected. Second example is about the escalation process, right? Because another thing that is very, very important in this PCS process is how do you escalate issues. Here is the same. For example, if you have an action plan, then maybe basically you cannot solve in that meeting. You need to escalate or to your boss, which is not in this meeting, or to the quality person, or you need to escalate the discussion for other meeting, you just click in this button here, escalate. And then in this escalation process, again, you can escalate to another person, just changing the responsible, or you can escalate this to another meeting. And what does it mean? It means that if I change here the person, for example, he's going to receive a notification in his mobile phone. We have an app where people can choose this. And also, if you change this source, or you send to another meeting, for example, this action plan will appear in the other meetings board. So then those guys from the meeting level 2 will be able also to treat this. And if there is a meeting level 3, no problem. The guy from meeting level 2 can escalate again. So the actions, they flow between this PCS process. Well, everything that I'm telling you.
Just one question is important to answer now. I think if the platform is only in English or if we have in other languages.
Yeah, that's a good question. No, if you see here, I have my examples in English because we represent all over the world and need to standardize. But here, if you click here in settings, and then every user, of course, can choose this. Or I can select my language here. Today, I guess we have almost 20 languages. And to put a new language, it takes us one week, because it's just a list of terms. I guess we have 5,000 terms. We sent to a translator, and then we added here. We are now in a global rollout for one big client in 82 plants, and probably all the languages in the world will be here in the next 1 year, because they have plants worldwide. Thank you, Ariadne, for the question. Thank you very much. Well, and just to my last 2 points, I will try to leave at least 5-10 minutes for questions. One is the mobility as well. So everything that you are seeing here in my screen, that if you have, for example, a paper board, a physical board, if you are in the minute 1 hour after the beginning of the shift, the physical board is out of date, right? Because that information is not updated usually. Here, no. If this information is especially coming from other systems, every time that you go in front of that board, this board is always up to date. This means that you take best decisions, right? Because the decision-making process will work much better with real-time information. And the second, everything that you are seeing here is actually mobile responsive in this new version, meaning that you can be everywhere, not necessarily in front of that digital TV, to know what's happening during the shift. I mean, the plant manager, even a global person that maybe wants to know what's happening, this is available. And the second thing, to just finalize, then we can open to question. I started my speech saying that we can do things beyond meetings, right? That's what I was saying to you before, because these are the way that we configure these meetings were basically, these are just widgets, right? These meeting widgets. But actually, I can configure this visual management tool as other things. Let me try to give an example here. This, for example, could be the configuration, the visual management configuration of a line, which is not necessarily a meeting, right? Imagine that you want to keep these. I guess we did for pharma. This is more a farm example. But here, for example, you could be having this information here on the top. Could be something that could be coming automatically from HR, or could be coming from maintenance automatically. This could be, for example, coming from your, I don't know, ERP system. This could be coming from, again, from your ERP system, which is your production plan. This could be coming from the PLC of the equipment, saying that if the equipment is running or not. Same for this, all these equipment conditions could be coming from also the equipment, because again, it's not necessarily a meeting. It's just a visual management tool. Everything that I'm talking to you are widgets, widgets and widgets. And another example that I selected to show you is this one. This is a completely different approach here. Every box that you are seeing here is basically a electronic catalog of SOPs or procedures or one-point lessons, right? That's it. For example, imagine that an operator, he records a learning on the one-point lessons. He submitted to approval. This is one of our modules. And then here, again, he can embed the code here. This is the code. We provide the code for ourselves. So the guy copy and paste, and that's it.
I'm Andrew, the project manager here at Deutsche Beverage. Today I'm going to show you how to change a pump seal on a UE pump.
The guy has automatically a catalog of instructions. So just to finalize, this solution that we call Digital Obeya, it's a very, very configurable solution, and the limit is your creativity. Because basically with this concept of having a blank board and widgets, you can configure and structure all your meetings and anything that you want to do in terms of visual management. Okay, thank you very much. I will see if Ariadne has questions, and we are going to be happy to answer.
Okay, thank you, Renato. Thank you very much. We have another question for Olivier, and then one question for Ronaldo, and many questions for you, Renato. I start with the Olivier. Is possible to use the PCS for the top management meeting? What do you think? In the room, not in the production?
In fact, we use a solution for every meeting of the factory. The Mancom use the solution for weekly meetings to review KPIs, production KPIs, but also for management meetings. So we put all the action plans in the system, and we record the minutes of the meeting in Solvay. You also can pull the master plan and follow your master plan of the year in the solution. So.
Okay, thank you. Ronaldo, uma pergunta para você. Como você acha que a ferramenta ajudou na diversidade que você falou?
Na verdade, em todas as companhias, você tem os profissionais uma experiência de vida, um conhecimento, uma capacidade a ajudar de alguma maneira. O sistema PCS, na verdade, ele age como um facilitador, como existe um ambiente propício, né, e natural de trocar experiências e ideias. Evidentemente, é lá que a gente consegue obter o melhor de cada um. E a riqueza está nessa mistura cultural, né, de todos, na solução de problemas que muitas vezes, em função disso, aumenta a criatividade na solução.
Ariadne, if I can help, this goes into culture cross countries, because if you have physical dashboards, you cannot access this from one side to the other. But actually, if you have a digital board, and of course, if you allow the other side to access,
You can share.
they can exchange, right? Because
Yeah.
you can see what the other site is doing, right?
Perfect. Yes, I totally agree with you. Omar, I don't see the chat. Could you choose questions for Renato, please? Could you select?
Sure, yeah. Aline is asking, what's the infrastructure that is necessary to implement Solvay?
Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, the system runs is a SaaS system, meaning that is just required a web browser. So you can run in any regular desktop. Of course, that you are going to have the best use of the system if you do things as you saw in L'Oreal with big screens TVs, right? Because visual management, in my opinion, is key. I would never become digital, in my opinion, without losing visual management. I did this mistake in my career before. I became so digital and there was no big screens. I'm talking 10 years ago that I lost this visual management. And today, I guess you can have both. You can have digital and you can have at the same time visual management. However, for our system, we don't need any special hardware. It's just about a regular desktop, a regular mobile with a Google Chrome, with Microsoft Edge, and that's it.
Okay. And I'm seeing many questions regarding the integration of the system with other systems, such as SAP, collection of data, integration with Outlook, and also with Power BI. Could you please comment this?
Sure. Let's go one by one. Power BI. Power BI, usually what you do in Power BI, everything that you do, you go to Power BI and you can export a HTML code. You just copy and paste, and that's exactly the example that I showed you. So everything that you do in Power BI is connected straight for 5 minutes. You just export, you get the code, paste, and that's it, it's there. Same for SharePoint. If you have a file in the SharePoint, you go, export the code, and that's it. Meaning that we are just shadow. So if you do any change in Power BI, we are just shadowing. So it's going to be integrated. Second, what was the next one, Omar? Can you repeat the name of the system? SAP and?
SAP, the collection of data of equipments.
Okay.
Outlook and Power BI.
Okay, so Outlook. Outlook, actually, we launched 3 weeks ago, more or less, the connection with Outlook, meaning that every action that you put in our system, and if you synchronize it with your agenda, will appear in the deadline of that action. So if the action will expire today in my Outlook, this will appear in my calendar if I'm the responsible. So this is also something that is configurable. And related to the last two, which is SAP and then MIS or equipment, what we have in the system is what, sorry if I'm going to be too technical, but is what we call APIs. APIs means that our system is open to receive data from any system. It's just about for you guys to consume our APIs, meaning that if you want to post, that's the language in APIs, that you want to post data in a specific widget, we provide you the access to that widget, and your IT guys are going to be posting this in the frequency that you want. So that's how usually people do integration. The last way to do integration, I didn't mention, if your IT, for example, wants not to use the APIs but want to exchange files, that's an option as well. We can exchange files, and from the file that we receive from you, we can put this automatically in the system. And honestly speaking, I guess the value of the system is really when you integrate with others, because you're really saving a lot of time. I guess the question for Olivier was related to cost savings. Yes, there is a lot of cost saving of people every day typing information from one system to the other, apart from the mistakes that people can do when they are retyping the information, right?
Okay, and I see one last question here, Renato, is regarding the license, how we commercialize the license.
Yeah, licenses are now seeing the solution as a whole, right? Remember that we have many modules. So licenses are actually licenses per plant. We don't charge per user because we believe that every single person needs to use. This operational excellence is done for everyone, not only for the supervisors. That's why, different from maybe almost all the software players in the market, we don't charge per person. We just try to classify that specific plant in very small, medium. So we have, I guess, 8 clusters, and this, of course, is the total FTEs. The way that we have to standardize it. Then the plants can select the number of modules, and Digital Obeya is just one module. As many more modules they buy, is cheaper per module, right? And of course, as many more plants you have, is cheaper for everyone. So in other words, a plant will pay a yearly fee according to their size and according to the selected modules, and then every single person will have access, and doesn't matter how many actions, how many boards you created.
Okay. Thank you. I want to say thank you for everybody. Again, I want to say many thanks for Mr. Ronaldo and Mr. Olivier for your availability to stay with us today. And if you have more questions, please send us by email, and we try to answer as soon as possible, okay? This is my contact if you want, and you have the Esther's contact. Esther is our commercial management, and she is the responsible for this webinar and to send the invitation for everybody. Thank you again very much, and we will see soon. Okay? Bye-bye. Thank you very much.